everybody, it's Jenny, and today I'm sharing my design team project for the Not Too Shabby shop, and I'm going to be using this greeting farm stamp set called Dreams Do Come True. And from the set, I'm going to be using the unicorn stamp, and I'm going to be doing some mirror stamping as well. So first, I'm going to stamp out my image onto some Nina cardstock using some Gina K black ink. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of a silicone mat that I got at Hobby Lobby and just trimmed down into this little piece. And I'm going to stamp my image onto that and then flip it over and press that down onto my cardstock. And then you'll see that I do it again, but instead of pressing it onto the cardstock, I put the cardstock on top of my image and do it that way, because the first time it smeared and distorted my image a little bit, probably because I pushed too hard when I put the mat onto the cardstock. So I just went ahead and did it this way to get a cleaner image. Then once I had all of my images stamped, I'm just going to go ahead and color them in with my Copic markers. So I also colored up my unicorn in two other colors, a pink and a blue-green, and I colored those exactly the same way, so I didn't include it. But next I'm going to color in the rest of my images using some warm grays. Once I had everything colored, I used a micron pen to darken up the face on my mirror stamped image. And I didn't trace the whole thing at first, but in the end I went ahead and did that using the micron pen. And for the horns, I used a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and then a white gel pen for some highlights and details. For my background, I brought in some Distress Oxides in the colors Mermaid Lagoon, Squeezed Lemonade, and Picked Raspberry to make a rainbow watercolor background. So to do that, I'm going to smush each of these colors onto my glass mat and add some water. And then I'm going to just pick up the colors with a paintbrush and add them here and there onto my white cardstock panel. Next, I smushed out some more of the Picked Raspberry Oxide to add as some splatter, And I did the same thing with the Mermaid Lagoon and then dried my panel with my heat tool. Once everything was nice and dry, I took my fussy cut images and played around with the layout and orientation of my panel and went back and forth between landscape and portrait and eventually decided on landscape. So before I started gluing anything down, I wanted to add a little more to the background, and I pulled out these MFT cloud dies and just cut them from some more white cardstock and then placed them behind my unicorns. Once I had everything planned, my last step was to pick out a sentiment, and I'm going to bring in this stamp set from Not Too Shabby and use a sentiment that reads, "To my best friend." And I'm just going to heat emboss that with some white detail embossing powder onto some purple cardstock. Next, I'm going to use the Lawn Fawn Everyday Sentiment banners to trim out my sentiment. I thought adding a scalloped background to this would look super cute, so I took the Lawn Fawn Scallop Slimline die, and I'm just going to cut that out to fit behind my panel. So to get the right size panel for my card, I ran the cardstock through with the die, and then I laid my panel on top of it and used the end of it to trace out where I needed the other side of the die to cut through. And then I lined up the edge of the inside cutout of the die with my trace line, and then lined it up so it would all run through and look like one consistent cut. Once my panel was all cut, I just used my eraser to erase that trace line and then started gluing everything together. And for the final step, I used a piece of 110-pound cardstock to create my base and then attached my panel to the front. I think this is such a fun and cute card, perfect for any bestie, and I just love how it came out. And so if you're interested in grabbing this set for yourself, you can check out nottoshabbyshop.com and use the code N2S10 for 10% off your order. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!